let's do a fast and dirty look at how dog culture is used against our school programs. Recently, everybody's talking about the Department of Education, and they're going to get defunded, and Trump's going to take them down, all this kind of stuff. I've done, I've talked about this in a longer video, but let's just do a quick look at some of this. So in Texas, they have budget cuts for their schools. They're going to take away sports programs and other stuff for kids. Okay, so they got a budget deficit, so they're going to take away, look at all this stuff. They're going to take away sports programs and other extracurricular activities. Okay, well, while they're doing that, they're getting federal money for dog parks. Their state is already facing a huge overpopulation hoarding problem, and instead of putting money into their schools and stuff like that, this is what they're doing. And the Department of Education, whether they're directly involved with this, they all know that this is happening, and they're using the love of dogs to slide this stuff into your life without you knowing it. And Texas has a huge problem with stray dogs, so they need to hire more personnel, more dog wardens and more things like that to deal with all these dogs. Even though they're attacking their kids and citizens, open carry, protect your family. No, you're just going to use that money that could go to your schools to try and solve this dog problem. And so, $13.1 million animal shelter in Abilene, Texas. So, isn't that interesting? They're going to go do an animal shelter, but they're going to cut down school programs, and people will fall for this because it's like, oh, dogs are better than kids. Dogs are better than humans, right? Yep. And it's all over here. Let's go to our next little thing. So Abilene, Texas will do the city. They're facing budget concerns that lead to school programs. Well, but they're not gonna cut back on the spoiling and housing of dogs. Nope. And notice this. They have a $13 million deficit, so they're not gonna do school programs. Well then, don't build another dog shelter. Just spay and neuter those things and get rid of those freaking strays that are attacking your kids at freaking bus stops. Yes, that happens. And these protection bills for animals, these are just another way to take your taxpayer money and give it to a state so they can build freaking dog parks. They'll call it animal welfare, just like Biden. I'm sorry, not like Biden, just like Hitler did. He did this exact same thing because Germans love their animals, and so they use this to slip in all this crap. And yes, Texas gets federal funding for animal welfare programs. Department of Education. Well, they're gonna cut back on programs. They're gonna cut back on building jungle gyms and swings and walking trails and free loaner mountain bikes for kids. They're gonna cut back on all that, but they're gonna give you a bunch of money so you can continue to spoil your dogs. Yep. So there you go. There's a quick look at how this all works. States get all this money for dogs to put dogs in schools, therapy dogs, this dog, that dog. They refuse to spay and neuter their dogs. They don't take care of all these dog attacks that's happening, even the dog on dog violence. Department of Education doesn't step up and help with any of these programs, but we're giving federal money to all this dog worshiping crap. And that's why this works so well, is because we live in a nation of people that are like, dogs are better than kids. Oh, those guys lost their soccer program. Well, I'll give $200, $300 to ASPCA though. Yeah, they're just taking advantage of us because we freaking worship dogs.